It takes a lot of hard work to make a dream come true. Visualize a worthwhile goal and do the best you can do. It takes a lot of hard work to make a dream come true. Be kind to folk. Don't be mean and rude. To get ahead in life, you need a positive mental attitude. Look to the future and dream of success. Then work very hard to do your best. You may become a movie star or a beauty queen, Olympic champ or president just because you dare to dream. And your dream may not be to get rich quick, but to feed the hungry and heal the sick, or to bring about peace around the world and make a happy, dreamy-eyed boy or girl. You may be an athletic wonder or a talented whiz and not make a living in sports or showbiz. Sometimes a nightmare of reality will wake us from our dream. What we thought was so easy, now impossible it seems. Just look around and you will see life is not always easy. It's not always hard. If plan A fails, simply go to plan B. Visualize a worthwhile goal and do the best that you can do. It takes a lot of hard work to make a dream come true. Thank you. And now, here's Randy Wren.
Ballet. Well, welcome to the Randy Wren live show. I wanted to bring a lot of attention to the ballet, but first I wanted to talk to Wardell Montgomery Jr., my favorite urban folk poet on earth. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
You're welcome, Randy.
I wanted, oh, wait. This is really important because we have some very, very important people in the audience. And this is a social event. Primarily, this is a benefit for the Colorado Ballet, Releve, which means on your toes. And I recently saw Wilma Webb at a Producers Guild meeting where I suggested that we put Denver on the map by calling it the Big Top. She thought that wasn't a bad idea and jotted it down. And she brought her husband tonight, the Honorable Wellington Webb. And I wanted to thank them very much for coming. Denver is in mighty good hands, I'll tell you that. Well, Wardell.
Yes, Randy.
What's going on? You just got back from Detroit.
That's right.
You grew up in Detroit?
That's my hometown.
You're talking to your mother Rose yesterday, I know.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Wardell grew up by Stevie Wonder, and they used to haunt all the bars.
Well, sort of. One thing about Stevie, he was very open, and he just liked to drop in just ordinary clubs. And he would just pop in unexpectedly and say, do you mind if I sing or play a number? You know? And it was, of course not. And he just liked to kind of catch people by surprise sometimes and do that.
Wardell and I met a few years ago. We were helping Larry Walker use the 12 steps to help the homeless. And during the last election, not Wellington's election, but the election before that, at a Lutheran church at 8th and Ogden, we ran into each other. And so we went up to see Our Town at the Nomad Playhouse up in Boulder. I once did solitaire, double solitaire there. I was working at the Rocky Mountain Business Journal. And we had a good old time, and we've been great friends ever since.
Right.
Well, tell me, you have a wonderful answering machine. You have another poem on your answering machine now. What was that poem about?
Now, it's going to sound a little misleading, but the title of the poem is Free Cocaine, but it discourages the use of it.
Ah, that's a good idea.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Wardell lives on Pearl Street. I was down on Pearl Street today getting ready for this. I was going to deliver a ticket to a friend of mine, and there's a traffic jam on 6th Avenue. They're doing something with 6th Avenue, and I took a right onto Pearl, and I blew my tire out, which, of course, on a busy day like today is not exactly a good time. I prayed that there would be a tire in the back, and thank God I had a spare. But I couldn't figure out the jack, and you know who helped me with the jack, Wardell?
Who helped you with the jack?
The Denver Post.
How did the Denver Post help you with the jack?
Well, there was a guy out there named Paul saying goodbye to his girlfriend. I said, do you know anything about this stuff? And he said, let me take care of my girlfriend first.
Don't blame him for that.
No, no, and I was mighty grateful. I was willing to wait. No problem. No questions asked.
What are you eating,
I have another guest out here. Let me see here. Boom, 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 boom. You know, this is live television. Jody Reed, yes, my God. The Rock of Gibraltar, putting this show together the last 9 months, I contacted Jody Reed on a regular basis, I'd say 2 or 3 times a day for some advice. This is a very seasoned movie critic. Jody, the beautiful Jody Reed, will you come down and join us, please? Hey! Nice to see you.
Cordell, nice to see you again. A lot of great movies out. Next 2 weeks, we're going to see some great ones.
Oh, good, good, good. Now, you went to see this movie, didn't you?
Yeah? Looks like a great one. Let me tell you about it.
Okay.
All right. Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith team up for an emotional drama. It's called Paradise. It's adapted from the popular French film Le Grand Chemin. It's the story of Ben and Lily Reed, who are grieving over the accidental death of their son 2 years ago. The burden of their mutual pain has torn them apart, but a friend of Lily's sends her 10-year-old son, Willard, off to stay with the couple for the summer in Paradise, Michigan. Willard becomes a healing catalyst for the troubled pair.
So, that was a good Reverend's message this morning. Inspirational, uplifting.
Yes, it was. He talked about getting a sunburn.
What?
Something about the sun burning thee not by day. I slept through most of it.
Here, I'll do that. You hate to clean fish.
I thought the deal was you catch him and I clean.
Well, I'm gonna change the deal.
Ben thinks you're beautiful.
As you can tell from that clip, Willard brings Lily's heart out again and ultimately brings the couple the love they thought they'd lost. Then in turn, they give Willard a summer he'll never forget. It's well acted, a bit at times it's a bit melodramatic, and it's brought to you, directed by Mary Alice Donahue, who brought Beaches with Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey. Remember that
Yeah,
film?
I love Bette Midler. I heard Bette Midler did a special in the studio with Randy Raymond from the Galleria Theater.
In this studio?
In this studio, yes.
Didn't
We've got
know
some
about
good
that.
vibrations here. Yeah, this is great.
But this is a good film, and I think you'd enjoy it.
Well, Jody and I first met, she was in West of Broadway, a Mile High Cablevision production with Stephen Hume, who was your co-hostess? Brian Priestman's 40 McClave,
Yeah.
who you can reach at JF Images. And Alan Stern from the Denver Post and Jackie Campbell from the Rocky Mountain News did a Siskel and Ebert type thing. And Jody, I think, brings a new voice to film criticism.
Thank you, Randy.
You really do.
I hope you'll check out this film. I think you'll like it.
Well, movies kind of make my life, you know. I always kind of imagine that movies make all of our lives. The thing about movies is that you can escape anything you want to escape. And then you can walk home and have a good night's sleep. I wanted to introduce everybody to my editor at Life on Capitol Hill, a political science teacher on the Metropolitan State College campus, a really wonderful man. He's a political reporter on this show, Bob Hagedorn. Bob, would you come out? Yeah. Hey, Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, Bob, you certainly have a nice territory to cover at Life on Capitol Hill. What's going on at the Capitol?
Well, we got, the circus is coming to town next month, but
Yeah.
there's a two-ring circus going on in the legislature right now, the House and the Senate. Well, they're trying to figure out what they call school reform, which is kind of a, broad subject, whatever, catch-all type thing. And then, of course, the most important items are the redistricting of the state legislative districts, the House and the Senate. And, of course, that's being proposed by a nonpartisan commission. And then they have the congressional district problem, which probably just like happened 10 years ago, the Republicans will propose some things, and then the Democratic governor will veto it, end up in court, and so of course some popularly elected judge will decide on the final boundaries.
Oh, you're getting your PhD, aren't you?
Getting that in public administration. And one thing I found kind of interesting, you had the Webbs here, and they're celebrating the 20th anniversary. But if anybody's been reading the papers, they know that the mayor's honeymoon with the media is almost over with. He's getting a lot of criticism now for his appointments, but then...
I don't see any media here tonight, by the way, except for us. And I love the Webbs.
But anyway, he's going to have a tough 3.5 years ahead of him.
Well, I suppose we all have a lot to learn.
Hey, stay tuned, as they say in the business.
That's true. Are you still out there? Let me see. What do I know about politics? Well, I was student government president on World Campus Afloat in 1971.
Hey, did you have a domestic policy?
We raised money for anti-apartheid in South Africa.
It's more than George Bush has done when it comes to domestic policy.
How about Barbara?
Well, too bad, but she's not president.
I like her jewelry.
Good choice of pearls.
Yeah, 3 strands, and everybody knows they're fake.
Hey, she makes some bones.
Aren't they fake? Do you know, Jody?
I really don't know.
Now look at those earrings. This is a woman who would know. Come on now. Are Barbara Bush's?
I couldn't say. I'm doing the film.
Now, I was reading Joanne Ostro's column this morning in the Denver Post about television. She happened to write about talk shows. And she said Ronald Reagan wouldn't have a show if his name was Jones. You know Ronald Reagan Jr.? I saw him in the Joffrey Ballet at Town Hall in New York opening night. And Nancy came. You know, I do think that Nancy was a great stylist. She brought a lot of Adolfo red. Was it Adolfo? I know it was red. Lots of red. What do you think about Barbara? You know, domestic policies. I think that begins with dinner parties in the White House.
No, they certainly had a fair number of those. But you know, it's interesting. Things are kicking up again in the Gulf area. Saddam Hussein is not cooperating with the UN inspection teams, and Bush is rattling the sabers again. So pretty soon, my prediction is that Congress is going to investigate this as some kind of a plot by the Republicans to keep attention on foreign affairs so that George Bush can slide right by without ever talking about domestic policy come next November.
Well, we do have another reporter here. Theater, from the world of politics to the world of theater. Now, Jan Waterman was the unsinkable Molly Brown at the Boulder Dinner Theater. But I didn't meet her until she did 6 Women with Brain Death, or Expiring Minds Want to Know, at the Late Stage West, where I was a group sales manager. Thank you all for coming. I would like to welcome Jan Waterman to Randy Wren Live. Come on, Jan. I think Nancy Reagan dressed her.
Nancy Red and Barbara Blue.
Hell no. So what's going on in the boards? How about that Drama Critics Circle? What are they all about?
They haven't announced the nominees yet. We thought it would come out this last weekend, but we're thinking maybe it'll be this weekend. So we really don't know who's up for what.
But it's going to be at the Ascot.
It will be at the Ascot, and I want to say that it's October 4th. I'm not certain of it. It's the first Monday in October.
You can call the Ascot. Dirk Olson will help you out
Yeah.
there. Wonderful guy.
They should know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place if you haven't been there before.
Yes, it is.
Jan's been around town recently to check out what's going on at the Aurora Fox and at Littleton Town Hall.
Right.
Can you tell us a little about it?
Yes, Littleton Town Hall is doing Crimes of the Heart. It's just a wonderful play. It's a very dark comedy by Beth Henley about 3 sisters who are still trying to cope with the bizarre circumstances over their mother's death, which I can't go into that because I'm going to give the play away. But it's just a very, very, very funny and very touching and poignant show, and very, very good production of it out there.
I love that theater
I do
space.
too. It's
Wonderful.
a wonderful space. The
Yeah.
setting's great. They've done a really fine job.
See, Littleton can do something right.
Oh, I was very impressed with it. I had never been there, unfortunately, and I will be going back. It's a wonderful space.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah.
Well, when you're burning up gasoline and running out the Aurora Fox, what'd you find out there? I know Liz Jury does a great job out
She's
there.
a dear. She's wonderful. They're doing an Alan Ayckbourn play called Taking Steps. It's a British farce. It's very funny. It's very typical of a Victorian manor house and the comings and goings and various wives and husbands and lovers and a real estate agent and how they all get all mishmashed together. It's very, very funny. And that's directed by Pamela Clifton Silverman, and she's just a genius at this British farce. She just did Accomplice at the Arvada Center, and then her Noises Off is very, very critically acclaimed. She's really quite good at it.
I
So-
took Nancy Keene to see Quilters out there.
Oh, I missed it. I heard it was
The
wonderful.
thing about the Aurora Fox is that it's an old movie theater that's been restored, and it's like that 40s kitsch deco that's like an amazing place to see anything.
It is.
It's a big stage, too. How many people do they seat?
I don't know, but I'm going to guess. I bet it's 245, maybe even as much as 300.
Well, you know, I'm a Denver Center Theater Company speaker, and last Saturday we took a tour. A really nice guy named Rodney Smith toured us of the new Temple Hoyne Buell Theater.
Oh,
Talk about a
yes.
knockout, 2,800 seats.
Yes.
They talk about Phantom of the Opera, but the big news is that new theater.
Yeah, I hear it's
Whoa,
wonderful.
world class. I mean, we are on top of the world here.
Yeah.
I hope nothing happens to Robert Garner. What are we going to do?
Oh.
Seriously.
I just saw Phantom in Toronto. As a matter of fact, the Denver actress is Patty Goebel. She is understudy for Christine there. And so I recommend everyone go see it. If you haven't seen it, it is spectacular. It truly is. And in this new theater facility, it's going to be wonderful.
Well, you know, Jan, I know you come from Texas, and I have another friend from Texas.
Oh, no, 2 Texans. in the
Yes,
same
Pat
room.
Ferguson. She used to write copy for Neiman Marcus, and she teaches Sunday school. We lived at the Avanti together for a while, and she teaches at St. Barnabas at 13th and Vine, catty corner from Lickety Split. The best ice cream in the city, I would say. Pat, will you come down here? This is one of my favorite people in the world, so give us a big hand for Pat Ferguson. Hey, Pat. Good to see you. Oh, yeah, let me go. And Sean from Rethreads. Thanks for coming.
Oh, I'm delighted to be here.
Well, what's going on outside of 7th Avenue?
Well, fantastic fashion, and I should know it because I've been wearing clothes for over 60 years. I've seen it all, believe me. The gypsy look, the flower child, the new look, the this look. But my personal choice are the classics. The Count on Me classics. You'll look great in them anywhere, anytime. So study the classics is my advice, and then kind of take off from there. I really believe that if you dress to suit yourself, you'll be happy, and so will your audience. Now, to illustrate my last remark, remember when we went up to Pepita's?
I love Little
Got all
Pepinas,
this
the best
fashion?
food in the world. Italian, it's just off the viaduct over in North Denver. Wonderful. Rich Blick owns it.
Here are some of classics I feel that are very au courant. Always, the ever and always frontier fashion. Here, the McCoy from Capriva at 3rd and Columbine, a shop that's just crammed full of fantastic fashion, as you can see. Look at those butter soft suedes. Somebody pass me a spoon. Man, they're great, aren't they? And these are from the back of my closet. They're 5 years old, and see, I mean, I still wear them. And if I wear them, darling, you know, they're right. Plaids and checks. Plaids and checks, big this year. There we go. And the beautiful blues, these wonderful silks. They're available from a charming couple, Brett and Luann Davis. You may reach them at 770-3972. Just give them a call. Okay, the classics, here we go with illustrating the timelessness. I'd like to introduce my guest, Shawn Soudan. She is the proprietor and finder of the treasures at Rethreads, that great vintage shop at 1514 Colfax, just 1514 York, sorry, Shawn, just north of Colfax.
Those are gorgeous earrings.
She's got a lot of gorgeous things. What I'd like to know is how you got started in the vintage clothing business.
Well, I've collected vintage clothing for over 15 years, and I've always enjoyed the elegant styles and the classic lines of things from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. About 9 years ago, a friend of mine suggested that I turn my hobby into a business, which is what I did.
Okay, the big question now, where do you find these treasures?
Well, I get them from a variety of places. I buy them from wholesalers and warehouses. There's a few vintage warehouses in town. I also buy from individuals who clean out closets and set up appointments and sell to me. And I still set aside a certain amount of time for my own treasure hunting. After we get the things, the fun part, we go through and wash and iron and mend and dry clean and repair everything so that it's basically in as good a condition as it was when it was new.
And I know that you carry lots more things.
Yes, I sure do. I carry both men's and women's clothing and a full line of accessories, including hats, gloves, scarves, silk and rayon lingerie, silk kimonos, hats, jewelry. Can't think of too much else.
Well, that's plenty. It's just chock full
You
of
should
good-
see her cases. They are priceless.
They're full right now.
marvelous vintage jewelry.
And I've asked a few of my friends to model some things for us. C.J. Mussman is wearing a single vent tweed sports jacket circa 1953 at $28, pleated vintage style pants at $18, a late 1950s tie with a flat pocket wool gabardine shirt, back pleated at $24, and a chocolate wool felt hat at $22.
Wow, those are some affordable prices.
Jane Becker is our next model. Jane is wearing a heavy cutwork silk 1940s suit blouse at $24 with a washable silk skirt at $18. Her shell pink leather pumps, circa 1950s, are $16, and her gray suede handbag is $18.
How much is that netting needle?
She carries that with her.
I see.
That's not for sale. Thank you, Jane. Yes, this is from the shop. I'm wearing a 1940s rayon crepe dress and a 1940s wool gabardine jacket and 50s wool felt pumps.
And I just snared these fantastic, could I please have a shot of these? Thank you very much. Tuxedo pants for the vast sum of 28 bucks. That's about it. That's fashion for this evening. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, Randy.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on. Now, is this a loaded deck or what? I've got the best friends in the world, don't you think? Talk about talent overflowing. I want to thank you all for coming. Really, truly. Thanks. Thanks. Now, I'm going to come up in the audience and, like, work you later, so have a seat. I wanted to thank Steve Snelling, our band leader, for being here tonight. Steve lives up in Greeley, and we've been chit-chatting over the telephone at all hours of the night, figuring out what we were doing, and I didn't hear that theme song until tonight. And I passed Steve in the hall after I heard it, and he said, "What do you think?" And I said, 2001. I mean, he's really making a dream come true, and I want to thank you a lot, Steve. Could you introduce the band to us?
You bet, Randy. Thanks for
Thanks.
having us, by the way. These are some friends of mine from Greeley. There's quite a little music scene up there, and I picked these guys out for this week. This is Miles Porter on bass. This is Rick DeMay on saxophone. And on drums, Kit Peltzel. And we prepared a, thank you. We prepared a real short little piece to sort of get things moving along here, and this is it.
This is it. Why don't you sit here? Well, releve is a ballet term. I'm learning a lot of ballet terms. Ballet Up to the Bar is an event that Joy Gilbert is going to chair in May. But tonight's releve, and I want to celebrate it with the best of ballet company. And do I have some company here? I'm very honored that Lillian Cavillo and Friedan Parker, the founders of the Colorado Ballet, are here, and Martin Friedman, the artistic director, and Heidi Magoon, the president of the Bar Association. Now, bar is not spelled like you might think. You know, this is ballet. It's B-A-R-R-E. That's bar, as in like in a dance bar, you know. So. Anyway, Heidi's the president of the Bar Association. I wanted to ask you, Heidi, how do we become members of the bar?
Very simply, write me a check. We have memberships from $15 to any amount that you wish to write. We are the premier support group of the Colorado Ballet. We have been in existence for 5 years, and we really have a large variety of members, from youngsters to oldsters, men and women included. And we would like to encourage the audience to participate in keeping our fabulous Colorado Ballet right here in our wonderful state, so that they can prosper and go around the world, as Martin, I'm sure, will tell us about.
Well, I wanted to tell everybody, too. Last year I saw Heidi at the Nutcracker, and she was doing some good work there, selling some wonderful things at the gift shop. Marlena Siegel and a lot of the volunteers at the Colorado Bar, which supports the Colorado Ballet, sell sweatshirts and nutcrackers themselves. I mean, this group is infinitely... Hey, wait, look at this. The Colorado, can we look closer? Yeah, there, Colorado Ballet. And it's jeweled. I mean, that is a gorgeous t-shirt, really and truly. And Heidi is not bad looking herself. Look at these black leather pants, my God. Well, listen, Martin, you've got a triple play coming up. Tell us about it.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that
Wren's artistic director.
Is that ballet is not all swan like a nutcracker, as we know, but most of the people, sadly, in not just our community in Denver, in our state, but most people in the nation do not know that ballet is not just swan like a nutcracker. And this is where our triple play comes in. We're presenting 3 very special ballets. In fact, you showed part of one at the opening of your show, which was done, by the way, in practice clothes, in rehearsal clothes. It was not the costumes which the boys are going to dance in, which the men are going to dance in. Our triple play consists of a wonderful ballet, Concerto Barocco, which is done to the Bach double violin concerto in D minor by the great George Balanchine. Patricia Neary, who was a ballerina with his company, with Balanchine's company for 8 years in the mid-60s, beginning of the mid-60s, staged the ballet for us, and she's an absolute master of staging the master's ballets. The second ballet on the program, second part of our triple play, is Troy Game, which you so wonderfully showed our audience. It's a ballet by Robert North, an American choreographer who is known absolutely internationally. I knew Robert when I was in London teaching for London Festival Ballet. I taught many times for his company, which was Ballet Rambert. The ballet presents 8 men doing absolutely wonderful things to Brazilian drum music, as you heard. The third part of our triple play is a charming, sweet, and sentimental ballet done to the music of the Strauss family. It includes all the Strauss brothers and predominantly Johann Strauss II. It's called Les Beaux d'Agneau, choreography after Leonid Massine by a marvelous man named George Verdak, who was actually in the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo in the 40s and 50s. And the ballet is sweet and sentimental and absolutely charming. Shall I say more?
Well, I just want to... Your background is infinite. I mean, you've been with ballet companies all over the world. I'm amazed that Denver is able to step into this international spotlight. And Martin has brought to the ballet some incredible... Last year I went to Lillian and Friedan hosted it down at the Auditorium Theater. We're moving into the Temple Hoyne-Buell Theater, by the way. But at the Auditorium Theater, they did Man of La Mancha. And we did some incredible things down there that day. We learned from Lillian and Friedan about the story Man of La Mancha and the dancers that were out there. Who all was in Man of La Mancha last year?
Don Quixote, as it's called as a ballet.
Oh, whoops, excuse me.
But it is Man of La Mancha.
Yeah. The Impossible Dream is what I keep thinking.
Our production of Don Quixote was really a milestone in, I think, the history of Colorado Ballet, as Lillian and Friedan can attest. It was a beautiful production, as you know. It featured Andrew Thompson, Patricia Renzetti in the lead.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
It also featured, we double cast the ballet, Yuko Katsumi and Joseph Levinson, who were alternate casts. The ballet was staged by an absolutely wonderful man named Yuri Chatal, who did a fantastic, very careful restaging of the actual Leningrad, the Kirov ballet version. And he was aided by a wonderful woman who we're very fortunate to have, named Nadezhda Tikhonova, and Nadia, the short name. Nadia is the principal teacher in our school of the Colorado Ballet, and she has been one of the major teaching forces at the Vaganova School in Leningrad, and we are very lucky to have attained her. We got her last season for 4 months, and she is moving to Denver. She loves Denver. She says, in fact, very sweetly, when she arrived at the airport this time to stay for the whole year, she said, "Martin, I want to die in Denver." So that means I think she's going to be with us for quite a while. She is an absolutely phenomenal teacher, and she has changed so many things. So many of the students have profited tremendously by her coaching and her teaching, and she was the one who also helped Yuri Chatal put together Don Quixote. Man of La Mancha.
Man of La
As far
Mancha.
as you're concerned.
Well, you know me. I had a Spanish teacher at Cherry Creek High School named Mr. Butler, and that was required that we go see Man of La Mancha. Well, Lillian and Friedan, I'm like really honored that you're here, and you had us over to your house recently. I know Henry Lowenstein was there and some of my favorite people on earth. And I met Luba, this wonderful ballerina from Russia, and she was with the Bolshoi, right?
No.
No?
Leningrad Kirov.
Leningrad Kirov.
I've been
St.
wondering.
Petersburg, Mariinsky.
Yeah, maybe now it's back to
St.
St.
Petersburg,
Petersburg, Mariinsky, yes.
They're
It
using the
changed
original name.
all
yeah.
the names again, back to... Frida and I were just in Russia.
Oh, cool.
We were there just before the coup. I don't think we caused it.
You never know.
They're leaving.
But we've got a wonderful connection now with Russia, and we're no longer working with Tampa, right?
No, thank
We're
God.
all...
No.
See, there used to be a...
Tampa's way finished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just...
It's 2 years down the drain.
Yes, and the reason, I will tell you honestly, the reason that we have suddenly grown, and the growth is absolutely amazing, is once that we decided to break the alliance, because the alliance was weighing us down, it was not allowing us to establish ourselves full-time here in Denver, which we really want to do. Once we got rid of this burden, suddenly we realized what we could do. And last year, especially culminating in our Don Quixote, Man of La Mancha, I think was proof of how last year evolved as a first year without this so-called alliance. But this year is going to be astounding, Randy. We have dancers who literally are dancers, male dancers, which would be principal dancers in American Ballet Theater, in Joffrey, and the only reason we have them is because
We stole
You
it.
went to
stole them.
Russia too.
Ronald Reagan, move over!
We have a young dancer with us named Koichi Kubo, who won silver medal, which is second place in the prestigious Moscow competition, international competition, 1989. Koichi literally, besides being a wonderful artist, can do 15 what we call pirouettes, turns. He jumps his height.
I can't do that. I would, but I can't. And, well, you know, this is a social event, and I think that the world needs to come to the Colorado Ballet. We have the best season coming up under the sun, and under the moon, and under the stars. And I have a lot of stars that I want to talk to, and I want to turn them on with some music now. Steve, do you have some music for us?
Another little piece?
Yes, please.
Well, I'm going to celebrate a little diversity with some blues for y'all, since everybody on the planet is playing blues.
Well. Thank you. That was great. If those are the blues, I'm pure red tonight. And I'm not alone. This is Carolyn Connor, the chairperson of Ticket. She works at Anderman Smith, an oil concern. And she is quite the do, I'll tell you. Carolyn, what's going on at Anderman Smith today?
Oh, we're just really busy with our international oil concessions right now. Yeah.
Carolyn lives with a really beautiful woman that's the art teacher at Colorado Academy named Muffy Sidley. Actually, it's Cornelia Sidley. I kept calling her Cornelia Sidley. But she lives at the Norman over there. And I have here one of my very favorite people in the world. And I have also another very favorite person to thank for introducing me to Esther Trumbull. Gretchen Pope works at the American Diabetes Association at the Golden Ball kickoff at International Villa. I walked up to a counter. I parked my '83 white Chevy Impala Warhol in the front window, and I walked into this very crowded room. And who do I meet there but Esther Trumbull? Now, Esther is one incredible person, and she did an incredible benefit for the American Diabetes Association. That was a polo match out at Cottonwood Riding Club. Now, who won that polo match, Esther?
Stevenson Chevrolet, the American team.
Ah.
Sponsored by Stevenson, not Chevrolet, but Jaguar.
Jaguar.
Right.
Well, that's where the kickoff party was.
Right.
And I met Ron Allen from Channel 7
right,
there.
and the great convertible.
Esther has a great convertible, and her vanity plates read E.T. Now, that's not extraterrestrial, that's Esther Trumbull. And here we have Anita Edwards. She's our historian for the Denver Center Theater Company speakers, and we took a tour of the Temple Hoyne-Buell Theater this week. What did you think of that theater?
Absolutely astounding. I can hardly wait to sit in there and watch a production. Actually, I could sit there and just look at the beautiful scenery. It's marvelous.
Where's Gully Stanford tonight?
Oh, any number of places. I couldn't put my finger on it. You know Gully.
We all know Gully. Gully Stanford's the public affairs director for the Denver Center Theater Company. And I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for Gully. And they're fixing my microphone here. But I've got my dear, dear, dear friend who owns Gallery Nouveau at 1010 South Gaylord. 722 NUVO, the irrepressible orange. You know, Lucille Ball had red hair, but I know orange hair. Is that called orange, or what color is this? It's Eileen Hurlbert is my friend's name here.
Well, we could call it orange, we could call it red.
We can call it red?
Congratulations, Red.
I tried to find this woman at Red Rocks at a Rageye festival recently, and I saw Nancy Rebeck, who works for Barry Fay there, and she says, "Good luck." I never did find her, but boy, were those. Who was that guy crawling in the bushes that I ran across?
You said I think he came to the store the next day and he was a pizza delivery person. And said he was not after you. He was after somebody else.
Oh, no. And there's Bianca. Bianca, you're with your mother, Patty, tonight. She's a good designer, huh? Do you know your mother and I grew up on the same street together? Your grandmother's got a neat house. She really does. Do you go to school still? I mean, you must be in school. Well, Bianca, you know who's sitting behind you? This is Mary Clement, the chairperson of this event. Mary works at Saks Fifth Avenue, but yesterday Saks Fifth Avenue let her have the day off because Mary's not only the most important haute couture salesperson in Denver, she's probably one of the most popular models, and she was snagged by Madian F to do a shoot. Mary, where was that shoot?
Where was that shoot? Down at Heidi Holloway's on 17th and Blake.
17th and Blake?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cool neighborhood. I love Lower Downtown. Now, I gave Dana Crawford a ticket to this event tonight, but is Dana Crawford in the house? I don't see Dana, but I do see Dolly Zander over there. Dolly Zander I see at 23 Parish all the time, one of my favorite clubs. But one of my favorite people who I met at 23 Parish at a players' party after a Denver Magazine event is Laurie Esserman, who was one of our models in tonight's fashion show with Lou Ann Davies. So I've got like more beautiful women here than Crayola makes crayons. I tell you, this isn't it. And here we have Orville Springs. Orville, you read the Rocky Mountain News today, and there was an article in there by Robert Springs. What did he have to say?
Well, he was talking about the homeless, and he said that instead of having a bad attitude toward the homeless, we should love them and change them by our love and change ourselves and make the world a better place.
Yay. Oh my God, Janet Heritage is here. I took a Dale Carnegie course a few years ago.
Carnegie.
Hi, Carnegie. It's true. Oh, well. Janet has a cousin, Dana Miller, who has the keys to the Flying Saucer House that was on the cover of the Rocky Mountain News today. And he works at Alfalfa's. And Janet was in a class with me at Bill Fode, who I ran into at Ruby last week and invited him here. Now, the last time I saw you, you were working at a movie theater. What are you, you're at the park, you work in parking at Metropolitan. Oh my God. And that's Peg Adamson right next to, and Alice Preston. And my God, this is one wonderful, oh, and this is Eugene Tepper. Now, I want to get a little more music going here because I'm just going to have to dance down there and pull one of my favorite people on earth down with me, okay? I need a little R&R. Aren't these flowers beautiful? They're from my dear friend Sandra Graves at Carlisle's Magic Moments on 17th Avenue. That's over by Fish Dance and Ruby and Cliff Young's and Majorca and all the wonderful goings on. And you know who I do 17th Avenue with? Is my dear friend who we haunt Black Timber all the time and eat their food and pound their mahogany bar. She's my health and hospitals reporter, the irrepressible, the beautiful, the wonderful Pat White. Pat, will you come down and join me? This is my favorite woman, I tell you. Look at this lady in black and gold. Those are my mother's high school colors, but that's about as deep into Amarillo as I'm going to get. Pat, tell me, you have a report on fat and cholesterol.
I do indeed.
Tell me about that.
Okay. Fat and cholesterol have recently been implicated in some real serious diseases. Heart disease, cancer, stroke. And unfortunately, the American diet is real loaded with fat and cholesterol. We really love those hamburgers and steaks, and I'm as guilty as the next person, definitely. But I think there are some things that we can start to do to decrease our fat and cholesterol intake, and I think it's important that we begin to do them. It's also important that the consumer understand that fat is fat, which sounds very redundant, but in actuality, Vaseline is 100% fat, and so is the canola oil that everyone is trying to tell us is so healthy for us. So it's important to recognize fat for what it is.
Pat works at Beth Israel Hospital, but she was with Spalding Rehab for a long, long time. She was a founder of the Denver Free University. And she lives in the London House on Ogden Street. Now, where do you find time in your rounds with your patients to bring these things to their mind, you know, to help them with their nutrition?
It's just very important that when you're interacting with them on a daily basis, if you're helping them pick out a menu, that you point out to them that there are ways that they can decrease fat and cholesterol in their diet. And some of those things include using low-fat products such as skim milk instead of whole milk. It's important to trim visible fat from meat. And manufacturers have begun a little bit to give us some alternatives. There's now a wide range of non-fat, cholesterol-free mayonnaises, dressings, non-fat yogurt that can be used as a base for soup or as an alternative for sour cream on a baked potato. And it's much more healthy.
Sour cream on a baked potato?
No, non-fat yogurt on a baked potato.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I do
Instead of
sour cream. I was thinking butter.
Well,
I say
well,
butter, sour cream,
They're
you
not
know,
the same.
caviar.
That they're all
How
bad.
salt? What's salt do
Oh,
for you?
salt will have to be our next report. That's also not good for you. And recent research has indicated that we develop a liking for salt at around the age of 7 months. So from then on,
We like salt
we
at
like
7
salt.
months?
Yes, pretty early.
Who first salts our food?
I imagine our parents do.
Why would it? That's interesting. You know, I always learned that when you go out to eat, you're not supposed to salt and pepper your food because it's a sign of bad manners. I went to DU, and Randy McCarthy, who went to work for Hallmark, I took him to the Buckhorn Exchange one night for dinner, and I salt and peppered my food, and he says, that's a no-no. In the corporate world, if you salt and pepper your food at a restaurant, they know you don't know what you're doing.
No manners. Maybe on to something.
It's Hallmark, you know. Randy McCarthy was from Pasadena and terribly elitist. Well, I wanted to tell you all that I'm very honored tonight to have Larry Laszlo here. He just came back from the Cannes Film Festival with Charles from the Natural History Museum, where he did a report. Larry, could you come down and narrate this film for us? Good to see you. You know, Larry Laszlo, Charles.
Well, goodness.
Now, you have a gorgeous daughter named Ursa that used to work in our box office at Stage West, and you caught her tonight. So when we roll this film, I want you to be sure and point out Ursa.
Okay, yeah.
She's more gorgeous. Let's say that she looks like, who's Angelica Houston, but she's better looking because there's nothing wrong with Angelica Houston, but Ursa is like unbelievable.
Yeah, she plays the part of a beautiful person in this funny little tape in Cannes. I should explain, you know, I was at the Cannes Film Festival working as a still photographer, but I brought along a little video camcorder, and I thought it would be amusing just to walk around town a little bit. And not so much as a home movie, but to kind of show people what a weird scene this place is. It's hard to get that from the... here's a picture now, a little view. That big white tent structure is the American Pavilion.
Yay.
We're in the American Pavilion here. Charles, who's here on the stage with me,
There I am.
there. Runs this thing. Julie Sisk, an old Denver person, is the owner of this operation. So it's kind of has a lot of Denver roots here in this whole scene in the middle of the Cannes Festival. The American Pavilion functions as sort of a hospitality center and media center.
By the way, Larry would be, you know, you'd be talking to somebody, having a meeting, and Larry would zoom by with this camera with this huge wide lens on it and just flash by smiling.
Is that Ursa?
No, just miscellaneous folks. Is the sound on the tape coming out over the air at all? No, okay.
Well, Larry's putting together
That's
a
all right.
magazine, too.
And here are the bathrooms.
Yeah, well, you know.
This is where the rich and famous go to the Cannes.
There's this, the center of the whole Cannes Film Festival goings-on is this huge building called the Palais du Festival. I'm sort of ducking down in there for a quick little peek into this area. You know, I've got an hour of this stuff, and
I love it.
You can get a little sick of it.
Well, I'm very voyeuristic, and I've always wanted to go to the Cannes Film Festival, so this is terrific.
Yeah, now, of course, when the movie stars were out in front of me and stuff like that,
Who'd you see?
I was doing my job and pointing my regular camera at them. So.
But I like real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there aren't any in Cannes.
Yes, I can. Remember the Pointer Sisters? I love the Pointer Sisters. I saw them once at the Auditorium Theater, around the time I saw Roberta Flack.
People don't realize that down in the bowels of the Palais, there's a huge amount of porno being sold.
Really?
Yeah,
it's a big...
Not that I've been down there, mind you.
Here we are out on the street.
Oh, that's how you get in. You walk over the stage.
Oh my goodness, an inset. This is high class. It's just like the Letterman show. A quick little glance here at the grand staircase to the main auditorium where the big premieres are every single night. There are huge crowds. They're already gathered. This is some of the paparazzi waiting holding their places. But the crowds, the citizenry gathers for hours to get a good place.
So they can yell
so
insults.
that they can get close to a scene like this, which is the beautiful people exiting the theater after a premiere.
Well, the American Pavilion, what goes on in the American Pavilion?
It's, like I mentioned, it's a hospitality center, a media center.
Are there deals done there?
Yes, there's some wheeling and
What
dealing.
studios do you work with?
Well, they're all independents, basically. The smaller ones, none of the big studios. They've all got their very expensive rooms and stuff in the Majestic and the Calm. So we strictly deal with independents, pretty much.
And there are a lot of press conferences and big receptions and stuff like that that the American Pavilion hosts, and so that's kind of a
Spike
major
Lee,
scene.
who else?
Yeah, there were some important things. That
I saw Barton Fink recently. Waddell Elta Sherman had a screening over at the Esquire Theater, which dealt with the movie business kind of interestingly. Do you remember Cannon Films? They did The Happy Hooker and Joe. What are they doing these days?
Actually, The Happy Hooker was in Cannes previous
Right,
years.
right.
I have no idea what they're doing specifically, but there's a wide variety of movie companies that are represented there. I mean, it's an outrageous marketplace. There are incredible quantities of companies wheeling and dealing.
I got something in the mail today from Opera Colorado. I was a supernumerary last year in Opera Colorado's production of Don Carlos, which is like walking scenery. Oh, there we have some more.
Oh, here we are back on the beach. Oh, yeah, this is one of the big private beaches, the Carlton Beach to be specific. Just crowds of photographers hanging out, waiting for somebody to take off some of their
Larry,
clothes or something.
did you keep the nude shots in?
They skipped over it, I noticed.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah.
I even warned my
It's a
mother
family
about
show,
that.
I guess.
Yeah.
These are all topless beaches.
Oh, here we are playing catch with the video camera. It's, you know.
There's Larry. Yay.
Look at those
There's
legs.
something out there.
Where'd you get those Bermudas?
Right back to the yard.
Well, films are like, to me, an American-made phenomenon, and I'm glad that Denver has got such a fist in the international festival at Cannes. You know,
do.
yeah.
As Roger Ebert said at one point during this festival, though, it's too bad they let these French guys decide what gets to be in the festival.
The French are known to be fussy, aren't they?
A little bit. You know they've got a different word for everything?
We?
That's a Steve Martin line, by the way.
Oh, no. You know, Steve Martin was Pluto at Disneyland.
When?
Yeah, well, way
Here he
back
goes
when.
dropping names again. It's amazing.
Well, unfortunately, this is television, and we have to come to a close before we go back into Studio B and eat lots of chocolate cake. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This is a wonderful, wonderful city we live in, and we have a wonderful culture to celebrate. And I want you to get out and buy tickets to the Colorado Ballet, because we should support. We're lucky to have them. And God bless America. Thanks for watching. Thanks. Well, you know, I try.
I had never heard that many names since I got the phone book.
Or will you? Got some great cake and coffee. Here comes the world. Yay! Tell that to the oysters. Thing about Culture Grove. Culture Grove, Barbara, what, the discussion now. This is undoubtedly